Hey guys, this is Death College, and I am about to do a brand new show about UAP. For those of you who aren't aware of what a UAP is, it's an unidentified aerial phenomena. There have been quite a few posits as to what the phenomena actually are, where they come from, who built them, why they're flying around. By technical definition, the UAP is an identified aerial phenomena, otherwise known as an aircraft that has not otherwise been isolated for its model, make, or any kind of comprehensive data which could allow us to understand what it is and who's employing it. And here I have actually a PDF called "The Unidentified Aerial Phenomena: A New Hypothesis." This was written by Daniel M. Gross, and this was part of the Bachlen Noctel Switzerland publication. The accreditation for this specific paper is the gross_council@hotmail.com. I suppose that's their contact info. You can reach out to them for more data. This is a publication from 2013, by the way. It's been out for some years, about 10 years now. So for some people who have not necessarily been following along, this could be brand new intel. The data here in the table of contents that actually outlines some of the annotations of what was discovered on page 3 of 39 of the PDF says here that the surface properties, the dynamic properties, the reaction properties, the acoustic properties, and the sighting properties can be listed as such. But what's interesting about this is that as we go through the list, which I'll be reading to you, a lot of these phenomena have been part of these numerous sightings which have either been left undocumented or unresponded to as per documented. They have been the frequent occurrence or the frequent spoken of occurrences of eyewitnesses and people who have been privy to this information. And it also kind of narrows down exactly what was seen and what was employing it. The paper goes on to say that about 20% of the 40% of the sightings were accepted as genuinely unidentified aerial phenomena, considering that some of these, which have been listed here, have actually been attributed to government aircrafts. They could have been traced back to a government facility or some sort of government development process, meaning that it would also fall under a Section 10 non-disclosure agreement, meaning that any information about this could potentially affect security of national structuring, national protections, and international warfare treaties and agreements. But what goes on in this paper states that the surface properties, which are listed as B1 through B3, were an estimated 0.1 to 100 kilowatt light output of isotropic light emitted. B2 going on to say color mostly white, occasionally blue, amber, or red, which is synonymous with a lot of the aerial aircraft reports that have been talked about by eyewitnesses. There was always a frequent occurrence or a commonhood of these particular things. And lastly, small white or colored lights superimposed on a larger dark UAP, indicating that there was some sort of structure behind these lights that could barely be visible, but was in fact shaped enough in a way where it could remain connected somewhat to these light fixtures, however they presented themselves. In addition to this, there are also the dynamic properties, which I found especially colloquial to the witness experience. C1 through C7 denote a sudden appearance and disappearance of the aircraft, visible for typically 0.01 to 1 hour. So a fraction of a moment, meaning like a second, to 1 hour in their presentation, visible or not. Their diffusion overhead flashes to a localized UAP, steady lights or semi-regular intensity changes at a few hertz, possibly indicating a rotation of said lights, which were mentioned in B1 through 3. Immobile, moving at various speeds in both lateral and axial directions, indicating that there was no sequential basis for its movement. It could be here and then, kind of fly in whatever pattern it so chose to based on its directional coordinates. And moving on a smooth curve, taking sharp turns, accelerating suddenly, tracked by radar at speeds of up to approximately 10 kilometers per second. That's quite fast for something even as an aerial unit. The reaction properties that followed, D1 through D3, are reacting to a laser beam with a doubling of blinking frequency. The carrying out avoidance maneuvers with respect to airplanes, and changing flight path in reaction to radar beams. So, changing the flight path in reaction to radar beams would indicate that there's some sort of input being responded to by the aircraft, whether or not it is known who is manning the aircraft, which is interesting. That would require some parsing if it were an AI, or it would require actual reception from whatever was inside of it. Apart from this, there's also the sighting properties from F1 to F6, and it states in many places on all continents, at all latitudes above 60 degrees. So there is some sort of a parameter set here. Overall months, year after year, so there was no seasonal parameter or limitation here. From ground ships, airplanes, and spacecraft, everywhere low or high up in the sky or just above ground. So these are some, common things. Under blue sky, clouds, and land as background, or alternatively, under high air humidity conditions, in dry air, sorry. So this last one really got me, because a person having a sighting experience or a witness experience with a UAP in humidity is likely to have some sort of inferred visual impairment, because there is a barrier of fog in the place of what would otherwise be a clear sight of what is actually there. This is especially important because a majority of these experiences where fog is involved could implicate, yes, there's a light refraction involved that is altering what is actually being shown here. But alternatively, there's a possibility that due to what is actually able to be obfuscated of the flight pattern of the UAP itself and what else comes with it during an especially humid atmospheric, barometric pressure, this could actually show and indicate how close the UAP would technically, measurably be comfortable flying closer to the ground to be seen, based on the atmospheric allowance for the parameters to kind of change what is comfortable for the UAP to show of itself. So it's a really interesting paper. I just wanted to put that out there, because I don't know if there are other witnesses who have been privy to this kind of stuff, but these match up with just about every single thing that's been stated by witnesses thus far, and could cover a majority of these since reported incidents. But it really is interesting to see. It would be great to hear if you guys have your own witness experiences. Just as an FYI, I know that the UAP or the UFO community has a very mixed kind of following. I would just like to say, this is a blog that doesn't support any kind of fascism or racism to the effect. And it would be really great if everybody could just focus on the data and not on the interstitial commentary of others and Nazi history projects. I mean, Nazis are dead. That's what it is. They're never coming back, and I like it that way. All right, guys, this has been Death College. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being a part of this discussion, and it's really good to be able to talk about this stuff. Take care, guys. New content this weekend, as you know. Stay tuned. Lots of stuff coming. Take care. Bye.